Pharma to the rescue. That is the title of the piece in the editorial aboard editorial. Advances in drug research mean a vaccine for the coronavirus could be in human trials by April. This is the last day of January. It means February, March, 2 months. The World Health Organization yesterday declared China's novel coronavirus a global health emergency, though governments and businesses have already been mobilizing against the contagion. And look who's on the front lines: evil U.S. drug makers. The coronavirus originated late last year in Wuhan, but is rapidly spreading and has infected more than 8,200 people, more than the deadly SARS virus in 2002-2003. More than 15 countries have confirmed cases. Many airlines have suspended flights to China to limit the contagion. The good news? The coronavirus so far appears less deadly than SARS. Immunology has also advanced by leaps and bounds, so treatments and vaccines should be available much sooner. Ready, ladies and gentlemen? Several U.S. drug makers include Johnson & Johnson, Moderna Therapeutics, and Inovio Pharmaceuticals, are already working with the National Institutes of Health on vaccines. It took scientists 20 months to develop a SARS vaccine to test on humans, but the NIH hopes to have a vaccine ready for human trials by April. While tens of thousands more may get sick in the meantime, U.S. drug makers are donating antiviral medicines that may fight the virus. All of this is worth pointing out as politicians on both sides of the aisle denounce drug makers as parasites on society. While hard to estimate, the Wall Street Journal concludes, the public health dividends from drug makers' research and development often exceed their commercial profits. It is always fascinating to me, the demonization of Big Pharma, as it is called. We never speak about big unions, interestingly, big teachers' unions, which do far more damage to society than the Big Pharma do. But that is because the media are not honest. The media have an agenda, and the agenda is not news reporting. Everybody who has a smidgen of honesty recognizes that fact. Big Pharma, I have said this all of my broadcast career, I don't understand the demonization of pharmaceutical companies, thanks to whom every single one of you knows somebody who is living as a result of Big Pharma. That is a big deal. It's just, it's part of the chaos that animates the left, where everything good is attacked, like America, the pharmaceutical companies, Israel, and everything bad is somehow, it's not attacked. You know, America was attacked. The administration was attacked for killing Soleimani. I marvel at this stuff. The upside-down moral world that we are asked to enter. Pharmaceutical companies will save God knows how many lives. American pharmaceutical companies, that's right. And yet there will still be the cries about Big Pharma and how much they make. Well, if they make less, guess what? They will produce less. Is there anybody listening who thinks otherwise? Pharmaceutical companies will make a lot less money, but they will produce just as many new drugs. How does that work exactly? If you were given a lot less money, would you produce the same amount as you do now? It's mind-boggling. That's what it is. More mind-boggling news. The attacks on Facebook are now ferocious. George Soros, one of the worst human beings living, in my opinion, an utterly destructive, chaotic force, has a piece in the New York Times, and they identify him. It's just amazing that anybody should actually trust the New York Times, even in the description of who writes for them. George Soros, Mark Zuckerberg should not be in control of Facebook. The social media company is going to get Trump reelected because it's good for business, by George Soros. And here's the entirety of the identification of by the New York Times. Mr. Soros is a philanthropist. That is like saying Leon Trotsky is a writer. It's mind-boggling. Can you imagine if somebody on the far right, and this man is on the far, far, far left, can you imagine somebody on the far right would just be identified? Well, first of all, they probably wouldn't get published in the New York Times. But if they did, would they be identified as a philanthropist? The Koch brothers are philanthropists. So his argument is Zuckerberg is going to get Trump reelected, as if Zuckerberg is pro-Trump. Zuckerberg is one of the few who is a pro-free speech in Silicon Valley. He says it's not up to me, and it's not possible. I cannot decide what is fully true or not. I will allow political ads on Facebook. Yes, of course he gets money for it. But every media outlet gets money for political ads. So what? That's the way it works. And it's unbelievable. This is the Soros mentality. Soros is a totalitarian. His notion of an open society is essentially a closed society that is open only to left-wing ideas. So if it's not enough that the left controls virtually all of the news media on planet Earth, from the BBC to the CBC to the U.S. news media, it's not enough. There should not even be allowed anything that is not left to be stated because, well, that's misinformation. As if political ads are all pure truth. Political ads are always skewed for the candidate. Everybody knows that. I'll tell you one thing, though, from this article. They have a real fear that President Trump will be elected. It's unbelievable.